Thursday night of Good Old Men of Ministry. We got one brother missing tonight, and because of HIPAA laws, I can't tell you what's going on with him, all right? So don't ask. But we got brother Ptolemy Stagel in the house, and the young man himself, Mr. Derek, aka I'm a Smith all day. All right. So let's get right into it, man. I ain't even want to waste no time because I don't want time to get away from us. Okay. So since we were talking right there up the front, and Derek said something about whatever you said about it, but you made me think of the council culture of today. So I guess, do you guys, are you getting anything where if you say anything or now you're scared to say something because somebody might say something, counsel you, you know what I'm saying, the way it's going these days? So since you brought it up, Derek, I'll let you go first on that
one. I think before I speak a lot of times, so I don't too much worry about it. Mm-hmm. I haven't really been in a situation where I had to choose my words to, like, if I say this is going to be the fallout. Mm-hmm. And so I haven't really been in that situation, but definitely if something needs to be said, you got to say what needs to be said. You got to use wisdom all the time. I don't think people use wisdom a lot these days when it comes to opening our mouths. So you still got to use wisdom, but not at the expense of either somebody suffering or somebody hurting or something like that. You got to be mindful of, there are times where you absolutely have to say something.
Right. All right, brother.
I agree. I think we should watch our words and definitely watch our verbiage when we say counsel. I agree with that wholeheartedly. The only thing I would add to that is, for me personally, it is my goal to be real regardless. It is, I don't have that thing anymore that will allow me to sugarcoat and put icing on stuff, because I think the time that we live in is so upfront and naked that if we don't be real, if we don't be honest, if we don't have our honesty, there probably won't be any deliverance.
Right. So, yeah. And see, and my whole thing, where's my thing? I don't even know what I did with my whole thing with, like I said, my whole thing with the love sink and the love walk is in that 1 Corinthians 13. In there it says, love rejoices in the truth. So how can I love you or say I love you if I'm not going to tell you the truth and be upfront with you? You know what I'm saying? So again, you're right. There is no sugarcoating. It's the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, like the man said, hey, you can't handle the truth.
Yeah. For the sake of balance, I used to try to code it and code it on behalf of people's feelings. Mm-hmm. But one thing I've learned about living in your own reality is that if it's like you go to the emergency room, you got a cold, but you tell the doctor to treat you for syphilis. If I'm not honest, I'm going to get the wrong prescription. Mm-hmm. If I'm not honest, I'm going to get the wrong help.
Right.
So if I'm going to help somebody, I'm going to have honesty. I used to code it, and because I'm going to watch it because I don't want to hurt her feelings. But when you are counseling people concerning marriage and children, family and finances, there is only so much cordialness you can do. Mm-hmm. Just for the sake of balance. I used to do that. I used to try to, sweetheart, this, that, and the third, and talk over the matter and never talk through the matter or to the matter. And now I'm the kind of person that say, if we don't face it, God won't fix it. So I want to face it. I want to be honest about it. And that way the deliverance will come, I believe, because both of us at least being honest. I think it's the honesty that gets us to the truth.
Right. Right.
Which is the word of God, right?
Right.
So
exactly. I mean, you got something else to say, Derek?
No, I was thinking about cancel culture. I get it. But just like with anything, people take things way too far. Cancel culture was the recourse that blacks had when they didn't have the power to really affect people the way they were being affected. So this was a thing that came about when somebody wasn't treated right in an establishment or a business or something like that. And normally they couldn't get the justice through the justice system. So we say, well, we just cancel you. But now everything is cancel culture. Everything is everybody getting canceled. And when you think about it, there's things that you said 5 years ago. If you say it now, people be coming for you. So there's a constant constriction on what you can and can't say. And so the chance of offending or the opportunity to make somebody mad or be in the line of fire for, cancel culture, it's increasing all the time.
Right.
So at some point, you just got to throw caution to the wind and say, if it got to be said, I got to say it. However it plays out, it just plays out that way.
Right.
Because this is something it's not about right or wrong. It's about, I got to shut you up. I don't like what you're saying. Even if you're telling the truth, I don't like what you're saying. So let me find the quickest way to keep you quiet. So that's what it's really become. And it's coming for the church real soon, real quick.
Yeah, and that's why I guess I asked that up front, because like I said, you guys have actual, see, my ministry is like I'm here and I'm there. But you guys have church homes where people are coming. They could be, your regulars, or they could be somebody that's visiting. So if you say the wrong thing, you run regulars away. If you say the wrong thing, you got visitors that'll never come back. So that's why I was asking, is that rough for you? But again, like you said, you got to tell the truth, point blank. So
it just depends on if you're afraid of that collection plate being a little light. You ain't afraid of the collection plate being, because here's the thing that we're gonna be forced into. We're gonna have to really put God's word to the test. Because if you're doing the work that you feel like He's called you to do, then it's really on Him to sustain you.
Right.
But if you're so worried about people and how they feel to the point to where you will compromise the truth and compromise His word, then you are saying that you don't trust Him ultimately. So now it's not an easy thing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's tempted at some point in time, but when you come to yourself, you got to come to the realization, I gotta do what He told me to do. I'm more accountable to Him than to you. And you could cancel me in the whole nine and, run me up a flagpole in social media and all of that. But ultimately, if God doesn't have my back, I'm lost anyway. So.
Well, that's like I said, man, the thing is, and it's like you guys have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and you've learned that, again, you have to do what God called you to do. And like I said, don't sugarcoat anything. Don't try to, go around it, underneath it, but go straight at it with the truth. Because as I say, the truth will be the thing that sets you free. You know what I'm saying? If you keep dancing around it, it's not going to be resolved. It's always going to be there. So you can't be free to that thing until you hit it with the truth and get it resolved. So, so people that are sticking to the true word of God and hitting people with the truth, not sugarcoating anything. And like you said, when you're operating in God, AKA love, you're going to say things in love, whether it's correction or not, it's still going to be in love. And people should be able to handle that. If they can't, and they talking about wanting to cancel you or move on, then this is not the church for you anyway. You want to hear forget what Old Testament book is in there. You just want to hear the thing that's just going to tickle your ear. That's all you want to hear. You don't want to hear the truth and what needs to be told to you or spoke to you to truly change your life and change the way you're living. You just want to be, hey, just give me enough just to keep me happy and let me go ahead and do what I want to do. So but it is what it is. All right, let me go into this today, y'all. Police. What are y'all feelings on what's going on with the community and the police? How do y'all tell y'all people deal with y'all people in dealing with the police these days?
First of all, don't have court on the side of the road. Get back home. I understand your rights. A lot of times people can be wrong in their rights. And you don't want to put yourself in a position where anything that you do or say can be misconstrued as something that gives a bad apple license. Anything that if somebody goes back and reviews it, they can say, oh, well, yeah, you did this. Oh, yeah, you said this. And he did this in response to. And, you gotta just get home. Get home. If you go to court, let's fight it out there. But holding court on the side of the road is not a good thing. You gotta be mindful, gotta be careful. Because they can easily write it off. They were resisting or they were doing something, and nobody's going to really question them that much. And really, the system is set for them more than it is for you. So you got to be mindful.
All right. Well, Ollie, let me ask you this, because like you said, you was out in them streets back in the day. So back in the day, we always know it was some contention and stuff going on. But was it worse then than it is now, or was it the same, but now with cameras, it's just shining the light on it?
You mean from a police perspective?
Right.
I would say that it's worse even without the cameras. And I hate to make this what this is, but from what I've seen, something happened after Trump became president. And I just feel like that racism that was hidden came to the forefront. And now it is evident more than ever. Back then you didn't know. And police back then in the 80s and 90s were a little more lenient in East Texas. They were a little more lenient, but now with, the people getting beat on the side of the road, people getting choked to death and killed inside I'm quite sure it's probably been going on, but it has just never been something that has been known where I come from. Now we've had, Rusk, Texas had a little lynching problem. I will say that, and the police tried to cover up that whole entire thing. But
I like the way you said a little lynching problem.
Hey, I heard that.
I don't know your audience, and I don't want that smoke tonight. I don't.
Yeah, I caught that too. I said a little lynching. Okay. Like a little pregnant.
Yeah, so they had a little, a little lot, but I have it hadn't been so evident that back then up until right about the time he started running and being able to speak his mind, and I think it's like it gave some people a boost, and I don't mean that I really can't even say that racially divided, because a lot of Black people started speaking up for themselves. A lot of Hispanic people started speaking up for themselves. And what it is now is you have a lot of people who are getting put over that think they know the law. And even when they think they know the law, they think when you get pulled over, you fight with what you assume. And I the only advice I've ever told people is don't ever try to provoke. I mean, the people who the cops that are racist, they're going to be racist. But do your best not to provoke, because I think sometimes we don't understand. In business, we use the correct body language, the correct tone of voice, and do our best to remain professional in the verbiage. And I think, you know, I've seen it to where when things first started happening, I used to pull over. I know I'm getting a ticket. I pull over and I put my car in park and put on the lights, and I'd be okay because I know I ain't got nothing going on, and he probably just caught me speeding. But after a while, when I get pulled over now, I let down all the windows, take the keys out, put them on the dash, and I put both hands on the dash. And they use it 99% of every time I've gotten pulled over, be that highway patrol or local, they say, "Hey man, you don't have to do all of that. Roll up the windows, because you when you let them down, you make us think something." So I've always just told people, just watch your body language, watch your tone of voice, watch your verbiage. And I know that's not a big thing to everybody, a lot of people, but I think from some of the videos I've seen, things probably were going to end a great way, but the person started off with I'm recording it, just and they it's like they provoking something. We used to fight like that. Somebody will stand up and try to push your shoulder on the other person and provoke you to hit them. And I just think sometimes we forget to, it's just gonna be a ticket, but you done pulled out, you done went live, you screaming at them, they can't get a word in, you don't even know why you pulled over. And like you said, you're already in the court, you're the judge, you're the bailiff, you're the attorney. It's just so much. And I get it. But I don't receive it. I wish people would just stop provoking it. They're already on edge, But that's basically my advice. I've seen it. East Texas, it's a whole different ball game than the city.
I can imagine that.
Yeah. And see, now you said something interesting when you said that the guy came up and said, "Well, hey, roll up your windows because you're gonna make us think something's going on." Now, see, that's the problem right there. The cops can say anything to make it seem like it's your fault. So why are you rolling down the window? See, now you're thinking now with everything that's going on, I'm going to roll down my windows so the cop don't feel threatened. When he comes up and tells you, "Hey, now keep your windows rolled up because we think something going on." So what do you see what I'm saying? That's the whole problem now. What am I supposed to do? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I totally get it. I totally get it. It was just my precaution. And by the way, that was a black highway patrolman. And I took it as I see you are trying to be cautious, but learn this so you don't do this again. I wasn't offended at all, because see, the only thing on my mind is coming home to my wife and my children. And in the 80s and 90s, yeah, I talked some trash. Yeah, I went to jail 4 times, but I wouldn't dare do that as a 49-year-old grown man that know better.
Right.
And even if, and I'm going to be honest with you, and it may sound like the chicken out, but even if, and I know a bunch of attorneys, and my wife works for one, but even if today, if I got talked to wrong, I'm still going to comply as if he didn't say anything. Because for me, it's the bigger picture. I'm not trying to impress nobody. I'm not trying to get anybody any rights. That's not my field of knowledge. I wouldn't know where to start. What I do know is that my children deserve their father. My wife deserves that husband. By any means necessary, it's my goal to try to just do that. And so I would stop provoking. You see these videos now where people are getting caught stealing in the Asian shops and things of that nature. If you see what all they're doing, and a lot of times, even in these videos, we don't see how it begun. We don't never see how it begun, and we are so easy to assume and point the finger. I would have loved, and no disrespect to his family. But to see George's video when things started, I would have loved to seen that. It is not right at all. The man had his neck, his knee on his neck, but I would have loved to see, because I've had to do that. I have had to go to the video as a manager in retail and figure out, how did this start?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Now, here's the thing that got me, and I guess I was kind of naive to the fact, because most of my life is being in the military. So I've always been around military bases, on military bases, out of country and stuff for the most part. So my whole thing about the police was the authority. They didn't, whatever they say, that's what you do. You, like you said, you comply with whatever they did. And, that was it. And they wasn't lying and all that kind of stuff. But then now later on in life, you see all these guys, planting evidence now, camera catching them planting evidence. They making false reports. They just doing all kind of crazy stuff. And you like, well, man, how you supposed to trust the police when they doing all this kind of stuff? And we understand that's not all cops, but now when you get stopped, like you said, I don't really fear the cops. And I guess it's because the neighborhood I live in, they ain't messing with nobody. But I don't know what would happen if I go down south in Oak Cliff or some neighborhood like that, where it's a low income area and I'm having to hang out and the police pull me over. Do I get nervous? Do I get scared? Do I think I'm gonna make it home? Because if I get pulled over in Little Elm, most of these guys, I know their name. Oh man, well, I even nicknamed some of these cops around here. You see what I'm saying? So I know ain't nothing gonna happen to me up here. And then they be like, yeah, what you call it? U-turn tally, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But it's not gonna be like that when I leave and go down south or somewhere up north or something like that. But it's just a thing, like you said. I'm tired of seeing these videos for sooner to, why you pull me over? I know my rights. Like, what is all that for? Just show the man your license. And that's it. The best thing to do with it is show them your license. If they ask you a question, just say, I don't answer questions. And then just show your license, show your insurance, and you're good. So, I don't know, man.
One thing people have to understand, and even police have to understand, you're dealing with an increasingly heightened situation. The more people watch social media and TV and the whole nine, every interaction is going to get more and more intense. Scared people are dangerous. And it's not that everybody is on some bad stuff. They just trying to get away with it. Some people are just really scared. And it's like if you wrestle a guy to the ground, he's seen people get choked and die. He's seen George Floyd, he saw Eric Garner, and all of a sudden you got him on the ground and he's fighting you. You can't get mad at him for fighting if he feels like you're gonna kill him. Mm-hmm. Our natural reaction it's a survival mechanism. You fight. It's either fight, flight, or freeze. Mm-hmm. Right? That's the response. Fight, flight, or freeze. But my problem is that when a cop thinks he's the authority, he's not the authority. The law is the authority. And you're only the authority in line as long as you're in line with the law. When you step outside of that, you're not an authority anymore. The problem is the law is going to back you rather than me. That's the problem. So until the law, the legal system starts holding police accountable for how they police, because here's the thing you got to understand. If we all buddies, we all hang out, and I cheat on my wife, y'all wives gonna look at y'all crazy. Mm-hmm. Right? So
they're gonna think you're ex.
Right. So what you would normally do in response to that, if it's all about keeping just the whole thing looking clear, you gonna address me and say, man, nah, bro, we don't roll like that. Because you're not just protecting me, you're protecting yourself. You're trying to keep heat off of you from actions that I've done. I don't think police think like that. or there is a code there that needs to be removed to where I gotta hold my police buddy accountable because his misstep, his behavior is threatening my life. And we think it's the public. It's not all on the public. It's on that guy that you know how he is. You know, you heard him in the locker room. You heard him, you know, the jokes he tells, you know, all this type of stuff. And he goes out and he has it on his mind. You know, he got it on his mind. And you put that person out there in the public. You allow that person to go out in the public. And when they go out there, they do stuff that you know they're not supposed to do. And it causes people it's not they don't trust him, they don't trust police. He represents all of you. So why won't all of you keep him in line for the sake of your own lives? Because if he goes off, he shoots somebody or he chokes somebody out, then now anytime somebody gets stopped, they don't know. I don't know what's walking up to me in a police suit, in a uniform. I don't know what's walking up to me. The same way they walk up to the car, they don't know who they're coming up to. I don't know who's coming up to me. And I got to take that into consideration with how I approach the whole deal. And they say, well, we need more training. We need more training. I don't know. You need to clean house. Stop letting Bubba hire his son, little Jimmy, because he just need to give him something to do. Stop putting your little cousin and your little nephew on the police force just because you got a position where you can put them on there. Police is not something, it's not like a job at McDonald's. You got to stop treating it like that and putting unskilled people. When I say unskilled, yeah, you put them in a class for what, 6 weeks, 6 months, however long you put them in there. But that can't undo years of how they were trained in their home. And if you know they came from a racist home, you can't give them a badge. Stop giving license to bad behavior. Stop giving license to people who they really not set on doing right anyway. And that's what we do. We give it, when you give a bad person a badge, you give license to their actions. Yeah. It makes it worse.
I hear you there, Congressman. We're gonna get you voted in. You're gonna change some. Well, okay. Well, here's the next big thing that's always raising his head, and that's your buddy, our buddy, that's been with us now over a year, Mr. COVID-19. Now he got his cousin, the Delta variant, rolling with him. So, how are you guys dealing with that now?
Man,
same way.
Yeah.
Same way. Washing hands. I'm fully vaccinated, but I still masked up. I'm actually getting ready to order some of those air machines where it kills the virus in the air, because they told us moisture needed to be in the air. But I've told my church ever since last year to stay precautioned up, and please do your best to continue to wash your hands and you know, because see, I just believe right now, I believe these are the perilous times the scripture was talking about. And I don't want to get off something, even though I may be on something else in faith. I just like keep my hands sanitized, clean hands washed. I mean, yeah, wash your hands and then sanitize them. You don't sanitize dirty hands. Masked up, get fully vaccinated. I'm with all of that because we honestly just don't know. We're not the sons of the Issachar. We don't know the times, but we do what we can do. My grandmothers used to say, and I think we said something about it earlier. We have to use wisdom and the word.
Mm-hmm.
Use wisdom and the word. I think if we don't do that, then we're definitely setting ourselves up for stuff that we don't know about other than COVID or other than this other thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I've just keep your bleach clean with bleach, you know, keep your house clean and all that other stuff, and spray and sanitize. Because you know where I come from, when you caught something, everybody thought they was gonna catch it, you know. So we precaution. And if we got to start wrapping ourselves in saran wrap, foil, and condoms, that's what we got. Whatever we got to do, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the Bible says wisdom is the supreme thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people get hopped up on faith sometimes. And the Bible's like, you better be wise. I get your faith, but you better be wise.
Yeah.
And people, like I said, it's all about rights. You know, people getting so hopped up on their rights and say you can be wrong in your rights. You know, if me putting on the mask and I don't believe in it, then I'm thinking about the next person. I'm gonna say, well, you know, I don't believe in it, but I know this person probably scared. So let me just go on for their peace of mind. Let me just put one on. We don't have that kind of mentality in this country. That's not how we roll in this country. The thing that kept COVID going as long as it was, and it will keep it going, is how we don't care about you. It's the love show. We don't love nobody, man. We don't love nobody.
I agree. I think the worst thing that has happened to people is that some people didn't take it serious. They still don't believe that COVID is real. Mm-hmm. They still don't believe that COVID is a virus that you can catch. And I'm amazed how something can be so tangible and people still just won't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the thing that really saddens me is just with everything now, everything, I don't care what it is now. It didn't used to be like that, but now everything has to be used to cause division. Now you got vaccine versus non-vaccine. It's not, like you said, it's not about, hey, whatever your choice is, whatever your personal choice about what you want to do with the vaccine, that's your choice. But now that's a fight. Oh, you not vaccine, you ain't this and you ain't that. Well, you get the vaccine and y'all still dying. I mean, it's a big fight. Why is there a big fight with people? It's like, it's got to, nowadays, ever since, like you said, your boy, there's an argument about everything. Nothing can be just like, okay, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. Cool. We can agree to disagree. Let's keep on walking in love. Oh no, you're not this, you're not that. Well, you're this and you're that. Well, y'all still dying. Well, y'all still dying. Well, you got it and you still this. Well, you don't have it and you're doing this. And then the different media reports is coming out and saying one thing and then something else is saying another thing. And it's just so crazy that instead of you just, again, going back to the truth, if you just tell us the truth about the thing and let people make up their own mind about the truth of it, then, hey, let it go where it go. Let it be what it be. But all this other mess, man, it's just crazy. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of people. I don't even want to watch TV no more because everything is a fight about everything, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that in a lot of ways. That I think the church is still going to have to confront, like abortion. The church is still they're going to have to confront what to eat, what not to eat, to marry or not to marry. It's so much that is just going to be like this because for so long, people have always had a difference in opinion. They just never put it to voice. And something is just going on and people are very verbal about what even if they assume it, whatever they perceive, that's what they fight for. And I have this thing that I'm doing right now is that I'm going to believe the word regardless. Because that, for me, that is the only thing I know that it is highly legit and right. That is the only righteousness I know. I don't care whether or not, and I used to too, because I used to be so vocal about abortion and all of these other things. But after I was a single father, and after you've been with people who have put their kids up for adoption or done abortion or done this and done, I was coming off of 75, and when you exit 75 and 15th Street, they used to have the where you get off at. It used to be. It is a clinic still there, and a lot of times,
Plano Parkway.
yeah, and so people are protesting, and so one day I just happened to pull over, and I asked them, like, what is so valuable about this that y'all are sitting in the heat, and like I just wanted to know. And so after you hear their perspective, you think, oh, okay, I can understand. And because some people are just saying, well, God don't want us to kill nobody, and I get that. But you have to remember that people fight their reality every day. They don't fight church structure. They fight their reality every day. And so once you hear somebody say it from scripture, and once you hear somebody say it from reality, you've gotta know where to place what's right and what ain't.
The thing I see, bottom line, we can have the arguments about, just anything. You can argue about anything. When it really comes down to it, you just simply say, well, God said this. I'm just going with what he said.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like you can get mad at me because I'm a person. You can take it out on me. These are not my words.
Right.
So, I mean, your issue really is not with me.
It's with God.
It's with it, right. It's with him.
Yeah,
It's the authority. God. And because you can't take it out on him, of course you want to come for me. If one thing about it, if you looked at God's word, if people just did what he said, we would not have these problems. Point blank, period. It's amazing. Right. You read the Old Testament and the old prophets, and you hear them describing the conditions of Israel and Judah and the whole nine. Sounds just like today. You can read it and it sounds just like today. Hosea, Isaiah, you read those books, it sounds just like. And the one thing people don't understand, America is still growing up. Compared to other societies, America is a baby still. All these other societies been around for centuries. They've gone through, you know what I'm saying? But America is still that hard-headed young adult who think they know everything.
Exactly.
And it's going to come to a point where America going to have to grow up. And gotta take you through, or he'll allow you to go through so you can learn the lesson. And people don't understand that this country is going to go through. As much as people, you can try to pray it away all you want. You're gonna be like them prophets that was praying against Isaiah and all them people saying, oh, we're not gonna go into exile. This stuff is not gonna happen to us. And Isaiah, like, well, y'all can say what y'all want to. I'm just telling you what he told me. So
right. And I'll be honest with you. One of my faith confessions, and I'm learning this, but I'll say it here on live. As a believer, I don't have an opinion.
No.
As a believer, I don't have an opinion. I don't have to argue with anybody about anything. Homosexuality, anything. Because as a believer, see what for me, one thing I realize is that people who are arguing don't know the word. And people who say they know the word are arguing from some other perspective. Because if you love your neighbor, if you love your enemy, if you pray for the one that despitefully use you, bless those that curse you, why would you want to argue? You're gonna have to love your own. Two laws hang all other laws. Love your God, love the Lord your God with your mind, your heart, and your soul. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. How am I gonna give that away if I don't have it?
Right.
So I'm not trying to. I tell my wife this. I want to get to the answer, because if I start coming from the intent of my own opinion, this is going to go too far and too many different ways. What did God say? Because I don't have to have an opinion as a believer if I just know what God says. What does God say about racism? What does God say about homosexuality? What does God say about abortion? What does God say? And then hey, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what's right regardless. And that right standing is the word of God for me. As a believer, no opinion. So if you want,
No, here's the danger. People want to remove God for their own convenience.
Oh yeah.
They want to remove God for your own. But here's the problem. If I remove him for my own convenience, I removed him for somebody else's convenience. And their convenience, it could be offensive to me.
Right.
So we just gonna keep offending each other because I removed God for my convenience, but my convenience is not yours.
Yeah.
And see, as long as we work on conveniences, then so you think you want to remove God. No, you don't. You don't want to know how far people can actually go. You better keep God where he is. Matter of fact, you need to move him up a little higher because you do not want to know just how far people will actually take this thing. Everybody was so hopped up about homosexuality. Oh, it's an abomination. Yeah. And the church was quiet, wasn't saying that. Oh, pedophiles out now. And they coming for who? They're coming for your kids. After your kids. There are studies that are being done by higher education. It's all in TV and movies and stuff now. It's being put out more. And there's always a push first in arts and entertainment and then education. As soon as they get done with that, they're gonna start and make a push for politics. They've already started doing this. When they're getting ready to make a push, they change the term to make it more palatable. Right? We don't say fornication anymore. We say smashing. We say sleeping around. We say because fornication got more sting to it. Pedophile got a sting to it. We don't say pedophile. So now they're called MAPs. You know what a MAP is? They're called minor attracted persons.
What?
Yes, you can look it up.
Yeah.
It will blow your mind if you look it up and you see all of the stuff that is going on to try to prove. But see, here's the thing. For the community, the LGBTQ community, love is love. You can't define my love. You can't say, all this type of stuff. All right, fine. So now, are you going to be hypocrites when the pedophiles start using the same argument? Because that's exactly what they're saying.
And trying to make it a mental disability.
Exactly. I cannot help the way I am. I was born this way. This is the exact same arguments they are making.
Same verbiage.
So how are you going to tell them, oh, you're so wrong? How far does it go? Where does it end? If you remove God, everybody's conveniences come out. And you do not want to know how far people can actually go. And that's what we stand in danger of right now. This is happening right now.
Yeah, I can't remember whatever it was that I guess it was the first time when they started allowing men to marry men. And I told my wife, there you go. I say, hey, the door has been open. The floodgates are getting ready to come now. So once you allow that, hey, I want to marry my chicken. I want to marry my computer. You know what I'm saying? I want to marry the tree. I want to get married to my car. See, once you open that door, and the same thing with the transgender stuff, same thing. Once you open that door, like I said, the door is open. Everybody coming out.
Yeah,
the flood is happening. So you like you said, and now you can't put them back in the box. They out now. So so now I'm gonna go on Amazon. I'm gonna go on Amazon. I'm gonna get my white privilege card, and once my white privilege card come in, guess what? I'm gonna identify as a white man. You see what I'm saying? And they can't nobody tell me nothing different. And if you try to tell me something different, then I'm gonna take you to court like they do with everybody else. Because hey, I'm identifying as a white man now. I got my white privilege card. It said this card helps you trump everything else. So now I got my white privilege card. I'm identifying as a white man. So you can't kick me out of no private white club. You can't tell me nothing now. And now I can take you to court because you opened the door for all this other craziness to go on.
It's gonna be a tough thing to get that door back closed because
they're just 3 days ago, an Hispanic guy walked into a hospital with a pregnant fifth grader who's 12 years old, and he told them she's in labor with his baby.
Mhm.
And so I had to do some digging because, you know, we've had that in Nacogdoches. We had pregnant fifth graders, but this story got me because he didn't understand why he was being arrested.
Yep.
I know in his mind, all of this is legit.
Yeah. He didn't see nothing wrong with it.
He's a 17-year-old or something like that, maybe a little bit older, maybe older than that. But
He was 20-something.
yeah, he was 20-something. So walked right in the hospital with this 12-year-old girl trying to figure out, I'm quite sure he's saying, this is my baby, she's in labor, and he's in his mind, it is all normal.
Yep. He didn't see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and he didn't see nothing wrong with it. And what I love about it is that you don't hear any quotes about her saying he hurt me, he raped me, he manipulated me. She is, from what I saw, she was in on everything. She wasn't complaining that she had been raped. She wasn't complaining that this was a mistake. She wasn't complaining. They walked in. I think the story even said they were holding hands at some point, but they were for each other.
Yeah.
And before I begin to go, oh man, not again. And I said, oh my God, look at this. Yep. But you can't. There's not too much you can do about that because, you know, back in the day, because even my wife shared with me about her grandmother being young, 13, 14 years old, and gotten married. And so I think we're seeing a full 360 of things from the old starting to come around, because now you're trying to make what used to be sin and what used to be abomination. Now you're making it a legit mental disease. Where taxpayers' money are fixing to have to aid those who claim this is an issue. And so look for the children to start claiming that's how they like it.
And here,
you don't have no conscience.
Here's how you know it's what's happening. So everybody talks about the age of consent, right? That's the whole thing, upholding statutory rape, all that. It's the only thing holding it up. So now you have parents, new age parents, who say, we're not going to put a label on our child as to what gender they are. We're going to let them decide
who they are,
right? So you're going to let a child make that type of decision. Here's what's happening. The people, the minor attracted persons, are sitting over there waiting, because if they're old enough to make such a decision as to what they want to be, they're old enough to consent. And I got you. That's how they're going to get you.
I really believe like never before the church need to be training for everything. I really do. I wish a deacon board would have told me back in the 80s how to act around police, because I didn't know.
Right.
I wish somebody would have told me that my tone of voice and my body language and the verbiage I use could make me lose time away from my life. And now I see in us, we really have to come up, because can you imagine this going totally legal and a guy being able to justify being with a 12-year-old girl that you know, or a 30-year-old woman in a relationship with an 11-year-old boy? That is got to be some of the, just right off the top, it's horrific. But I kind of couldn't understand if we're not going to do anything about it, that doesn't mean it's going to guard us from what's actually happening.
Right.
They tried to tell us years ago, if a woman puts on a long dress, she'll be holy. And we all know long dresses come up just like short ones do.
Right.
That didn't stop anything. But we have got to stop being so limited to denominational laws and structures and just teach the practical, because they are it's I'm just, I have to be honest, I can't code this up.
Well, come on, if you're gonna tell the truth then.
It's already happening. It's this ain't something to stop. This is something we should have stopped already, because it's already happening. There are little girls that want 30-year-old men. They'll tell you that. There are little boys that want other little boys. That you go to any middle school. Go to any middle school. I'm saying to the church right now that the evangelism is not on street corners. Just all of that is just not the evangelism we need. Somebody got to get bold enough to go into the school system and see what actually is going on, so we'll know what to fight. So we try to put all this over. We try to blame all of this, a lot of it within the last 6 to 8 years. We put it on this guy with this red hat on. This stuff been going on, man. There's been a ton of Karens out there talking to crazy people at the pool. I did property management. I've seen it. I've heard I had to walk away from it. But there's also been people taking advantage of children from Sunday school to morning service. Sunday school teachers, inappropriate relations. Before there was a text, before there was a phone. I can tell you about some church trips that'll blow your mind. The worst place we used to be was having a church having to spend the night because they go to another church. It's crazy, but it's real. It's real. And anytime they start legalizing, I just have to say it, anytime they start legalizing sin, you're up against a devil you haven't fought at the revival. You're up against a devil you're not fighting at a tent revival. You're up against a devil you're not fighting at the Congress or the convocation. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. The battle is with images that try to exalt themselves higher than God.
Yeah. And I do you one better. The problem is we trying to fix the world.
Yeah.
God says, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves. This is a church problem.
Right. I agree.
We trying to fix the world. God said, no. I need you to work inside.
Exactly.
Fix all this.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, and I notice nothing gets set in society until the church buys in. Once the church buys in, it's locked into society.
Right.
And God is like, if y'all would act right, we could fix it, or at least people would see a difference to know right is right, wrong is wrong. But they can't tell. Why? Because we look just like them.
Mm-hmm.
The law, the 10 commandments that God gave, the law, it was to distinguish the Israelites from everybody else. It was their distinction. We have no distinction anymore. Mm-mm. We look the same. Mm-hmm. So how can we, when we go out, we spouting the truth is the truth. The consequences come if you don't listen. But the person that's delivering it can be uncredible. They don't have any credibility. This is why we got to watch how we handle our lives, because it's when it's time to speak, we want our words to be able to carry, to have some weight to them. So we got to be careful. But the work is in the church. We trying to focus on the word. Now we got to get the work cleaned up in the church. He said, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves, pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. He already gave us the formula.
Right. For any disaster.
If we would follow it, he said, now this is an if-then statement. If-then is conditional. Mm-hmm. He can't do anything until the condition is met. When we meet the condition, now he can move. See, God set it up to where he doesn't have to move until we do what we're supposed to do.
Right. Anytime
you hear if and then, you got to fulfill the condition before you can even hold him to anything he said he was going to do.
Right. Right.
We got
The land don't get, if the land don't get healed unless God heal it. The land, it doesn't get healed unless God heal it. He's the only one that has the power to heal the land.
Yep.
And that heal the land is the last part of their condition.
Yeah.
So we don't get together. We don't. Those who are called by my name humble themselves, seek my face, turn from them. Then I will. Then I will. Other than that, I won't.
Yeah. And we think God just sitting on us like, nope, I'm not gonna move till you do it.
Right.
He can't. He locked himself by his words. God is sovereign. He will never violate his word. When he says something, he sets a law for himself that he won't ever violate. So we just think God, like us, he can just violate his own rules anytime he feels like, he can't. He's God. He can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's on us.
Yeah. The church has lost its identity. We don't, they don't know who we are because we didn't know who we were.
And so, the real sad thing about it, this has been going on forever. Yeah. And Polly, from back in the woods back there, even back in the 60s, man, when I was still a young type, but going to the churches and stuff, to me, even then, I was like, something just ain't right in the church, or the way this church is teaching it, or the way this pastor is teaching it, because it's not enough love in it. Even then, you can tell it's not love in it. I don't know I was too young to know what it was, but for some reason, I know that this is not how God would want it. And that was back in the 60s. So now we in, it's been happening for so long. And like I said, people have been letting it happen. And now you to the point now, like you said, dude, hey, you've been turning your ear and doing your own thing for as long as I can recognize it. So you see now how bad it's gotten, because now everybody's recognizing it. And like you said, once the world lets the church say amen to it, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Done deal.
Yeah. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. But we got 3 minutes still. We got 3 minutes. So let's do this real quick. Let's go to Miss Shakari Richardson, since she's a home girl from here. So when y'all first heard about that, how did y'all feel about it?
I don't know the story.
Oh, you don't know it? Okay, you know it, Derek?
Yeah. This young lady from, I think she went to Carter.
The track star.
The track star, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And she tested positive for marijuana, and it destroyed her chance of going to the Olympics. And she was one of the favorites, for the 100-meter dash. And because of, she said, her mom had passed, and she found out when a reporter told her, she was just stressed. She was, going through it. So she smoked. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody's like, man, y'all tripping. Y'all should let her go and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I get it. But you got to learn there are consequences for your actions. And if everybody just go ahead for everything that you do wrong and say, oh, well, you ain't going to learn. It's got to hurt. It's got to hurt. And that's the thing. People don't learn if they keep doing something. Listen, I'm all for whooping behind. I grew up because my mama, but I appreciate it because I understood it, because she did it, because she knew if I continue, if she didn't set the standard with that belt, I would run amok. I wouldn't stop. So we don't ever want to, no accountability. We don't want to hold people accountable for anything. That's the problem. And listen, I'm like, I feel for you. You did all this work to get to this point. You should have been a little bit more careful, understanding that this could ruin your opportunity.
Yeah.
You got to guard it for yourself.
Right. And like you said, she's been running track all her life. You've been running track all your life, you know the rules, point blank. She would have been better off getting drunk than smoking weed.
She been smoking for a long time too. I guarantee you that. I guarantee this wasn't no one all. This is how she did. This is how she copes with stuff. She smokes, but you got to understand, if you do that, there are consequences. The rules haven't changed, and why give people who, if they want to stop you, why give them the ammo to do so? You got to be smarter.
Yeah,
exactly. I think her and her whole camp should learn their lesson from this, because she's a grown woman trying to justify a childish act, and I don't have it for her, because I know life taught me my lessons by force.
All right.
And I maybe got a second chance, but didn't nobody say, well, that's all right. Life don't say that. Life don't say it's okay. Come on through. Life don't say that. Life say if you don't pay your child support, you're going to jail for 180 days. That's life. Your mama don't get to say, well, I'm up under the Church of the Latter-day Saints. They don't care nothing about that. That ain't how life works. When she put that weed up to her lips, she knew what she was doing. I don't have no grace there. When she puffed and pulled, she knew what she was doing. I don't have no grace there. When she peed and tested, she know what she was doing. That's life.
Yeah.
You either live and you learn, learn and you live.
Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. I know, I'm gonna leave on this story, because when I was in the military, in the military you can't be smoking that weed, but hard-headed, you're young, you do stuff you ain't got no business doing. And this was hanging and trying to impress some women at the same time. So that next morning when we got to work, everybody come to the auditorium. What's going on, man? P test. Oh, you talking about a brother was nervous, boy. Woo-hoo-hoo. I said, man, I just got through last night, so I'm gonna get popped. But they were looking for specific people, so that's the only ones they tested. So I like, whoo, and like you said, that's close enough. That's it. I'm through.
Yeah, you better recognize grace when it shows up.
So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's our time for Men of Ministry. I'd like to thank the brothers for jumping on real quick. But before I let you go, real quick, Derek, what you got coming up, man? Anything special? Any thing happening with the church? I know we got Man Talk Mondays. What else you got going on?
We got Man Talk Mondays. I'm still doing my broadcast every Sunday. We're at 9 o'clock now instead of 11:30. But still doing that. And you can catch me Sundays at 9 and Monday nights at 7 o'clock.
So where they go to on Sunday? What's the site?
Oh, just go to Facebook.
Okay, on Facebook, Derek Smith.
Yep, go to Facebook and Overcomers Empowerment Ministries. That's the name of my ministry. Overcomers Empowerment Ministries. You can go to either my page or that page and you can find it. All right. Pete, what about you?
Well, Jesus Generation still doing what we do every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. I'm on live every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. And our associate pastors teach every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 7 p.m. I am actually getting back on the road with my leadership, servant leadership, and a BEMA, Biblical Emergency Marriage Assistance. And so we are trying to take BEMA back on the road. I haven't done anything in a year and a half due to COVID, and plus, I didn't think that was just the time for it. So we're getting ready to take BEMA back on the road and the servant leader back on the road.
Okay, so I can't remember if I was on your page or your wife's page. Y'all doing something called Strengthen the Cord.
Oh yeah, we'll be with Apostle Coleman them down in Athens in August for that. Okay. And we rarely do that. Because when you put three different couples on the same stage, you're gonna get three. But we trust this, and of course we know how to act. We from the hood. We know how to act. So we're excited to be with the Colemans at the end of the month. I think it's gonna be great because when you talk about strengthening the cord, you got to know what's in the rope.
Right, exactly. And I hope that rope is a knot of love. That's what it needs to be right there, brother. If it don't have, and because earlier I think Derek, you were saying something about, you know, whoever they are, and you were saying something about love. And I just want people to understand when we say love, again, we're not talking about the world. We talking about the scripture, 1 John 4:8, that he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about love. We're not talking about when everybody's liking everybody and what everybody want to be with everybody, and they call that love. That's that emotional affection and feeling type love. That's that temporal stuff. That ain't what we're talking about. When we say love, we're talking about God. So I want to make sure that I make that distinction from y'all for when we're talking about love here on Love Sync, or anything that says Love Sync. So I appreciate you brothers once again for jumping on with me, having fun. You guys know where to go see them. You know where to go hang out and be with them and see their ministry and what's going on. I only have real brothers on here. You know what I'm saying? You won't catch them in dresses and portraying a role. No, I'm just messing with you. If they're gonna pay you $1 million to put a dress on, put that dress on in front of that ministry. But it's good.
They'll be all right. They'll be all right.
So until next time, you guys, like I said, y'all stay walking in love. And like I always say, walk in love constantly and consistently, because you never know who you're going to be walking into, talking to, and you might be the only love that they've ever seen, even in their entire life. So until next time, you guys continuously walk in love.